he comes out here and sits down and gets quiet within himself, he ultimately has to simply yield with no demands on me whatsoever. And he has to be willing to let what flows flow, whether it's dynamic or not, whether it is motivating or not. And he, like you, needs to learn to do it all the time, not just when there's a gathering or when someone happens to ask a question, whether it's Susan or someone visiting or whatever. His curiosity needs to be brought into play constantly, as well as yours. But my point here is that it's imperative you don't have pre-existing designs upon God or your guide or me when you listen. Don't listen so that something miraculous can happen. Something astounding can happen. Paul thinks it would be absolutely wonderful, whether anyone was around or not, but especially if everyone was around, to float up above his chair. Because it seems to him that that would be a wonderful demonstration of the fact that there's no matter, and that everything I've been saying about it all being spirit, and not being governed by laws of matter would be demonstrated and would be exceptionally inspiring. But at the bottom line, he comes out here and sits down and has to let go of all of that. And in the process, love is expressed and love is felt. And everyone is blessed, not according to Paul's plans, but according to the Father's plan. And the love that the Father is being through me and through Paul is meeting each of you where transformation can most easily happen. So when you want to contribute to awakening, and you say, okay, Raj said, have an object of my affection. Have someone I want to extend a gift to. And I turn to God to be infilled with what to give. I'm going to have to let go of all preconceptions as to what that's going to look like. Because it's really God that you want to shine through, not you, not your private ego that would love to feel great, significant. You change the world by changing your mind, and you change your mind by letting it be changed by something other than your own authority. Because the expression of your own authority, your own imagined authority, is the only thing that is causing the kingdom of heaven not to be recognizable as the kingdom of heaven. So if you want to wake up, you have to yield to God. You have to You just simply have to be willing to abandon what you already know. Because as I've said before, what you already know hasn't awakened you up yet. Does that answer your question? Bruce, it's time to wake up. He waved. He waved. Hands? Oh, did you have a question, Bruce? The lady in the back, Pat.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for the opportunity to be here and to ask. On my ongoing healing in all its multifaceted aspects, and the recent yieldings that I have committed to for my ego, fear-based, and self, I'm wondering, what would you add to what I'm already doing in order to progress?
Well, I'm going to put it this way. I want you to hold in your mind the idea that the healing wants to happen. You're not making a healing happen. You're letting a healing happen. Your perfection is unalterable, which means you haven't become imperfect. You are as perfect at this moment as the moment God conceived you. That is an unchangeable, eternal fact. Your existence is an unchangeable, eternal fact. That which renders visible and tangible your eternal existence is also eternal. And because that's the fact, and the problem is not, then the truth about you is dominant, and the problem is not. And that which is dominant overtakes naturally that which is not dominant. Your healing is insisting upon happening. Your perfection is insisting upon registering with you. The presence of God, that is your individuality, is insisting on registering with you as you, flawless. All of the steps of yielding that you're engaging in, and all of the changing that you're allowing to happen, is not some effort on your part to coerce a problem into something better. It's the way in which you become undefended against the unchangeable perfection of your being coming into your awareness and registering with you. Do you see what I'm saying?
I think so.
What I'm really meaning to convey is not to look at this as a work that needs to be done to overcome anything. That if you do not accomplish well, will not result in healing. It's like someone reaching out for the first time to connect with their guide. When that happens, usually the one reaching out feels very isolated, never having connected with their guide before, not even knowing for sure if there really is such a thing as a guide or a God. And it feels like a very lonely thing, a pushing against the unknown, a pushing against a void. And it feels like something they're doing all by themselves. And that's why from time to time I share with everyone that your guide has been present with you from the moment you decided to have a private interpretation of the kingdom of heaven, has been uninterruptedly attentive to you. And why? So that the moment there are the faintest stirrings of curiosity in your mind, he or she might respond immediately in support of the connection being made. I point that out so that people who want to get in touch with their guide don't suffer from the feeling that it's all up to them and they're doing it all by themselves. Their guide is intent upon connecting with them. In that sense, the perfection of you, your unchanging, eternal perfection of you, is intent upon reaching you, just as you are wanting to reach it. And if you will let it register in your mind that the perfection of you is dominant, and not the problem the doctors have described, you will be able to let go of a false sense of personal responsibility to somehow spiritually heal yourself and get rid of this problem. It's important for you not to be doing this by yourself. And ultimately, it's important for you to realize that the only thing that can save you from this problem is the fact that you don't actually have it. Because there is nothing in existence that is more dominant than that which is responsible for existence, which is God. The wonderful yieldings that you have allowed and the wonderful changes that have occurred in your mind are not a force for changing a problem into a solution. They are the way you become less defended against the dominance of God. Do you get that? It's more important in your healing for you to know that you're yielding to the dominance of God than it is for you to think that you, by your conscious right thinking, are causing a healing to occur.
In other words, it's God's work, not my work.
That's right. And God's work is done and was done from the beginning and never was altered. And that which was never altered is insisting upon registering with you as never having been altered, which you will recognize as no problem to heal. Your healing is not a matter of overcoming matter, a material body, because there ain't no such critter. And so what I'm finagling into your awareness here is that personal effort and personal responsibility and the potential for personal failure at effecting a healing is an entirely false thing for you to be engaged with in your mind or concerned about.
What I'm hearing is let go and let God.
Couldn't be put better. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to experience yieldings. It doesn't mean that you don't have definitions that you need to let go of. But if you're less preoccupied with what you're doing in that regard and how well you're doing it, and you're more attentive to holding to the fact of the allness of God and the fact that God's work is done, His expression of your perfection is already accomplished and was from the beginning, and that's what's dominant. Because that is what is real. That awareness will allow you to let go of fear. It will give you a place to give your confidence. And that will mean that you will express less confidence in your own doubts. You see? And you will get out of the way.
That's a lot to move.
A lot of nothing is not a lot of anything.
Amen.
So you know, don't be too proud of how big a mess you are, because the mess is not real. It's not a lot, and if you'll simply acknowledge that and be willing to not fight it, you'll realize that it doesn't take anything to get rid of nothing. And that will mean less delay in the registering of the fact that will be recognizable as no problem there by you as well as any physician who would examine you. Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. We are going to take a break. Okay. We have a follow-up question.
Two short ones. First, I have canceled surgery twice, and would you advise scheduling a third time? And the second question is, of my multi-physicians, one in particular has no mind whatsoever for the mind-body connection or any kind of spiritual intervention or whatever. He's very clearly blocked to all that. And I've had a sense that somehow I'm to intercede with him and he's going to see something different he's not seen. Would you agree?
Well, I would not attempt to accomplish anything with him whatsoever. What I would suggest is that you embrace the possibility, because it is the fact, that the intelligence that he employs in order to perform his office is, whether he would say so or not, highly God-directed. So there is nothing you need to accomplish with him. yes, reschedule the surgery.
Thank you.
And you go and you let yourself be directed by God, and you let him go, knowing that he will be letting himself be directed by God, even though he would not put it in those words. There is an integrity in his mind that he has not created, but that he lives by. So don't conceive of him as functioning outside a realm that you would like him to be functioning within. He's not.
No, I just thought I was some kind of a catalyst or something he would see that he hadn't seen before. But it was something that came to me. It wasn't. I can't explain. When I have this intuition, that's it. It's there.
Yes, I understand.
Will I need the surgery?
Let me put it this way. I have said reschedule the surgery. I am not going to say yes or no to that question because I do not want the interim period to be biased in any way other than your willingness to yield to the intent that your body has to identify you perfectly. That is where I want your attention. I want your attention on what I mentioned earlier, that your healing is seeking you. Your healing, your wholeness, is intent upon registering with you. And that will be recognized as healing. That is where I want your attention to be. And if I answered the question any differently than I have, you would have a bias present that would not contribute.
My partner wants to know.
Your what?
My partner wants to know, how soon should I reschedule the surgery? I'm willing to just let it go. Well, I mean, let God, just let's.
As soon as it is convenient for the doctors, the hospital, etc. There is no need to delay, and there is no urgency that requires you to act immediately. Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Hands. The lady right here.
First of all, I want to extend greetings from Andy. He couldn't be here today, and he's very sorry about that. He's working. And I have a question from him, if that's okay.
That is just fine.
Okay, he writes, should I work harder at relaxing and enjoying this job? That's his writing. Or is it just too hectic and troubling an environment to be worth the beating I take? And, following the theme, how is my health looking to you?
Following the what?
The theme of today.
I see. I'll simply say that the situation where I'm speaking to him, the situation where you're working is not going to change. And it is not necessary for you to endure it. I encourage you to honor yourself and love yourself enough to find an environment that is nurturing, and such environments are available.
Can you give any direction for that?
No, he will open the door to that by making the shift in his intent. And I will say your health is looking good, and it will look better when you are under less stress. I will mention again that just because you're on your spiritual path, all of you, just because you are consciously opening up to more than your everyday human condition, does not mean that you are required somehow to stand taller than you can stand and endure the loveless behavior of others, the loveless behavior of businesses. Just because you're coming closer and closer to God, if I may put it this way, doesn't mean that you will somehow have an increasing capacity to endure suffering. Do you understand what I'm saying? That is nonsensical. I will leave it at that.
Okay. Is it safe to assume then that this shift will come with this advice that you've just given, that it will come relatively easily and quickly?
That is the likelihood, yes.
Terrific. Okay. I was going to ask how I can help the whole situation, but for my own part, obviously he's not very happy at the moment. And I was just going to ask for some words of wisdom from you about...
You be alert and point out to him when he begins to fret and work it over in his mind. So that to remind him to just stop that behavior. Mm-hmm. And get back into his peace and be open and willing to receive the clarity. There is a God, but he's going to have to lean into God